All right, so we are here in downtown Montgomery, Texas at Whitley Vineyards, and in today's video, we're gonna tell you all the pros and all the cons of living here in Montgomery, Texas. So let's get after it right now. All right, we're sitting down here in downtown Montgomery, Texas, and if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about Montgomery, Texas, or the entire Houston area, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, tap that bell for notifications, that way you guys can be the first to know about everything going on in the entire Houston area. My name's Kyler Ferris.
I'm Clayton Jones.
And we get calls, text, emails every single day from people just like you that are watching our videos and doing their research online, trying to figure out where they want to end up in the Houston area. So if that's you and you're looking to move in a day, a week, a month, a year, give us a call, shoot us a text, or schedule a Zoom call. You'll get both of us, and that way we can help you guys make a smooth move here to the Houston area. So we're diving into the pros and cons of Montgomery, Texas today.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. I just love being out here. I already just feel like a little more relaxed, a little more at ease, getting out of the city and into like a real Texas small town. So
yeah,
you grew up pretty close to here.
Close.
Did y'all come out and spend some time here growing up?
Yeah, so I grew up probably 25 minutes from downtown Montgomery. And yeah, Montgomery growing up has always been this historic, very old Texas town. It's probably older than any of the towns that we've covered. And in the vlog, we go way more into detail on the history of Montgomery. But one fun fact about Montgomery is it's actually the birthplace of the Texas flag. So that's their claim to fame here. I don't think they have any other claims to fame, so they hold on to that one pretty tight, but it's pretty cool. I think they were established in 1837, so that goes back further than any of the other suburbs that we've covered. So you've got a lot of rich history here in Montgomery. If you look behind us, this isn't a historic building, but a lot of the buildings back behind us here in downtown Montgomery are repurposed historic buildings. There's still homes from the 1800s that are right across the street from us. And so there's a lot of fun activities here in downtown Montgomery, similar to Tomball, similar to downtown Conroe. You get that small town Texas downtown feel. I would argue that Montgomery is the cutest. I think it's a little more quaint. Tomball seems a little bigger.
It's definitely the most authentic too.
Yeah.
Like in Conroe and Tomball, it's like it feels like a small town, but you have all the amenities. This is like an actual small town, which can be a pro and can be a con. We're talking about the pros and cons.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I about Montgomery is if you're going to those big box stores, if you want to go to the movies, there's not a movie theater in Montgomery. No. There's this downtown area if you want to come get a bite, but you don't have a ton of options. It's a real small town. So if you're moving here, you need to be prepared for that small town life, that small town living. Luckily, you're pretty close to some big areas, and you can get to your Targets and your Walmart. But in your day-to-day life, depending on if you're commuting or if you work from home, you are going to be in a actual small town.
Yeah. So one pro, though, on that note is that it has that small town feel. But like a lot of the other suburbs here in Houston, we're experiencing so much growth here right now that we are getting some of those amenities. We've got the Super Krogers. We've got a Walmart probably 10 minutes away. We've got Chipotle, which is my indicator of if a town has made it or not. And so you are getting a lot more development out here. I'm actually surprised that a lot of this development hasn't been out here sooner. But people are catching on. Montgomery has some of the prettiest land to live on in the entire Houston area. You know, as you go kind of up northwest of Houston, you get out of the pine trees. You still have those here in Montgomery a little bit, but you get into the rolling hills, the pretty oaks. So it's really gorgeous out here. Definitely a highlight of Montgomery. One other pro of Montgomery that I think is probably probably the biggest highlight for a lot of people is going to be Lake Conroe. So even though it's labeled Lake Conroe, the majority of the lake is actually Montgomery. And so you've got plenty of Montgomery neighborhoods here that give you the opportunity to live in a single-family lake house on the water and live lake life, not just on the weekends, but actually live it here in this really cute small town.
Yeah,
So,
that whole west side of Lake Conroe is Montgomery. And so, yeah, I'd say a bunch of that growth is happening. We're at a Whitley Vineyards wine bar. It's a family-owned and operated vineyard. They have some vineyards, she
like
said, about
10 minutes away.
10 minutes, 10 miles from here. And so there's a lot of that growth coming, a lot of new things popping up, which can be a pro or a con.
Yeah.
People come out to Montgomery to get away,
Yeah.
to have some more space, to slow down a little bit. And so I think that growth, if you're moving out here for that, it's going to keep growing. So you need to kind of have that growth mindset in mind, because in the next couple of years, this is going to continue to grow, which will help with
home prices, values,
and your values and all of that stuff. It's going to go up, and probably no guarantees, but
it's going to go up. So listen, the other thing about Montgomery is it offers that kind of peace, that tranquility, that country life where you're still not having to go to Houston for all your amenities. But it also offers a really wide variety of housing options here. So like I said, you've got lake life, single family on the water, condos on the water, short-term rentals on the water for investment purposes, but then you also have ranches. You've got people buying land and building houses. You've got people buying land, building barn dominiums. And then you also have builder developments. You've got builders coming out here, buying up 100-acre farms and putting houses on them. The other thing you have in Montgomery that's different than a lot of areas, because they have the space for it, you'll get some larger tract communities. So you'll actually get some affordable communities, and what I mean by that is homes in the 300 to 400 range that are on half-acre lots, which you really aren't going to find those in a lot of the other areas around Houston. So Montgomery, if you are looking for a small town feel that still has close enough proximity to Houston, you can find something here, living wise. It's not going to be difficult. One other pro I think of Montgomery, some would say it's a con, is that even though you're out in the country, you're actually only an hour away from downtown Houston. So
yeah, and you've got two options.
Yeah.
You've got 249 tollway, gets you deep into Cypress before it just becomes not a tollway. It also gets you out to Texas A&M, and then it's about the same distance to 45, which is a straight shot. So you've got two options, which is always good, depending on traffic and time of day and all that stuff. One might be better than the other. But yeah, being an hour from the Astros, museums, musicals,
basketball,
whatever,
everything,
sports, whatever you're looking for in the big city of Houston. It is in a different county. I would say that it's not necessarily not in Houston County. Sorry, Harris County. Houston is in Harris County, Montgomery is in Montgomery County, and they are very different politically. I would say if you look at how like Harris County goes, Montgomery County has a very different vibe. That's neither a pro nor a con. It's a pro for some, a con for others, but they're different in that regard.
And if you aren't super familiar with Texas, to us growing up here, it's common sense, but you're gonna have more left-leaning ideology in the urban environments and more right-leaning ideology in the country environments. And that's just how it is. And so, take that for what it is. There's a place here for everybody in Montgomery. I would say it's super friendly. It's super welcoming. I think a lot of our California clients' biggest concerns is, how are people treating Californians,
Yeah.
How are they treating you?
Yeah. Well, I'm from Texas, so I don't consider myself a Californian, but did live out there, came back to Texas, and I think Texans, it's just that Southern hospitality. They're friendly to everyone, regardless of what you look like, regardless of what you believe or how you vote. You're gonna get treated respectfully from all walks of life, and even more so in a small town. The smaller the town, the more likely people are to say hi, to ask you how you're doing, strike up a conversation. So they're going to get to know you, and yeah, you're gonna feel like a part of the community pretty quickly, I think.
And there's also a laid back sense of community out here. It doesn't seem like people are in too big of a hurry to get anywhere. If you keep heading west, on 105 west of Montgomery, it's just country land. You've got your cowboys, you've got your farmers, you've got your ranchers, and you'll see them here in town, and it's authentic. It's what you see online if you're coming from another state. It's real, and it's here in Montgomery. One other pro and con is affordability. So the pro is, if you're just looking for a single family home and you're looking for a little bit more space, Montgomery is a great option. We'll get into schools here in a second, but it's got a great school system. But the con of that is the land out here, if you're looking for land, is probably some of the most expensive land around the entire Houston area. And that just has to do with the fact that, if you compare it to land around Houston, it's prettier. It's just prettier. It's, like we said, the trees. I know we keep hitting on it, but I think environment's a big piece of, people moving. If you're giving up, leaving somewhere beautiful like California, you kind of want to know what you're getting. In Montgomery, you're really getting pretty land, rolling hills. You will see cows on the side of the road if you're not used to that, horses.
Yeah, on the drive up here, I passed this little cottage at the top of the hill that overlooked this little pond and had longhorn cattle in the front yard and horses in the back. I passed a field with like 30 or 40 horses in it, which is something you don't see even as you get into Houston. That many horses in one field. People have like a horse or two, but yeah, it's beautiful. Big trees, big oak trees. Again, more of the oaks. As you head east, you get into more of the pine. And so this is where you're going to get those big skies, beautiful blue skies.
Really pretty sunsets.
Yeah. You can see the sunset because you've got the hills and it's beautiful land out here.
So let's hit on the schools because we try not to get too opinionated on the schools in Houston because at the end of the day, and we say it in every video, everybody has a different opinion of the definition of a good school. So in Montgomery, it is growing, and one big factor to growth is schools, and so they actually have 2 high schools out here now. So they've got Montgomery High School, which has always been the high school out here, and then now they have Lake Creek High School. And so that shows that there's growth out here. If a small Texas town has more than one high school, it shows that something's going on. And so we hit in the Montgomery vlog how the schools are set up here. So click on that video, check that out. If you're coming from another state, you might not be familiar with the terms intermediate school or junior high, and you might not know what grades, elementary school includes. And so it's really important. Check out that video. We explain it all in that video. Montgomery High School is a 5A high school. So here in the state of Texas, they rank schools based off their size, their population, 1A through 6A. And so 5A being right up there, the second to largest type of school. So you're getting a really good education. You're not, you got plenty of friends growing up, but you're not in this overwhelming environment. I would say it's a good balance. And then, you ask anybody that sends their kids to the Montgomery schools, they're very happy with them.
Yeah.
So
something else we talk about in every video, which we always talk about as a con, is the weather. It does get very hot in Texas.
Today.
It's beautiful today, and a lot of people, I think we have a lot of Californians coming in, so a lot of times we think of like that's the weather that we're comparing it to. It's not sunny and 75 all year round, but you do get some seasons, and there is another huge part of the country that gets snow all the time, has really rough winters. I lived in New York City for a while, and the weather is not a con if you're looking at coming from a place where you shovel
0
snow
degrees,
for 9 months out of the year. We have very mild winters. We have a little fall, we have a little spring, and then it's hot for a lot of the year. But if you have access to water, if you have a beautiful lake nearby or a pool in your backyard, that can also be a pro. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We talk about the weather as being a con a lot. I think it has
Yeah.
pros compared to a lot of the country.
It does. If you can deal with the heat, this is your place. If you like outdoor activities, it's great as well. We hit on this in the vlog, but the amenities here for a small town are actually really surprising. We mentioned the lake, but you also have the National Forest, which is just about 7 minutes north of Montgomery. And as soon as you hit that National Forest, the land does change. It does turn into that pine forest, and it's actually one of the prettiest places I've ever been. And I didn't grow up going there. I've only recently started going to the National Forest, and you just don't realize it's this close, but it is thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, untouched, undeveloped, managed by the Forestry Service. So it's just really pretty. They've got miles of hike and bike trails in there. You can get permits and ride ATVs back there. They have equestrian trails. And so you can also hunt the National Forest. So if you're into that, you've got it right here, and you can hunt public land with an annual permit as well. We also have putt-putt here. So we've got one of the best putt-putt courses that I have personally ever played right here in Montgomery. We're talking high quality, really good turf, and I don't think it'll break the bank. So we also have Margaritaville. So there are restaurants that line the lake. Conroe and Montgomery kind of fights over, who owns those restaurants. So we include them in both of our videos. But you've got those restaurants on the water.
Yeah, Margaritaville is also a resort. So my family has a family reunion coming up, and we're checking out Margaritaville Resort because you can be right there on the lake.
Yep.
You can rent boats. Everybody's in one location, has access to everything. So to have something that can accommodate a large group, weddings, family reunion is really cool. Our go-to spot on the lake is Papa's on the Lake.
Yep.
It's a kind of classic dive bar.
Kind of a biker bar.
Has sand volleyball.
They have a swimming pool.
Has a swimming pool in the middle of it. You can boat up to it. So there's also Fajita Jack's right there.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff that's like right on the water that you can enjoy. A lot of different options in that department for sure.
Yeah, and I would say on Margaritaville, the last thing on that is it's a resort. They also have a water park. So if you want to take the kids out, you don't have to drive to Houston to go find a cool water park. There's actually a water park in Conroe down the street as well. But Margaritaville, you've got huge water slides, a lazy river, resort-style pool. You've got the Land Shark Bar and Grill, and then you've got the It's 5 O'Clock Somewhere bar. So I do believe Jimmy Buffett owns Margaritaville in some capacity, so there's a theme there. But anyways, once again, it's amenities that are moving out to the Montgomery area. We've got tons of really, really high-quality golf courses here in Montgomery. That's a huge pro. We've got Blue Jack National, which is right down the road. It's a Tiger Woods signature golf course. So it is members only, but make yourself a good friend and get on out there. It's probably one of the coolest golf experiences you'll hear about. But we've got other golf courses out here. We've got the Margaritaville Golf Course in Del Lago. We've got Walden Golf Course, and so there's plenty of awesome golfing options if that's something that you do.
Kyler likes to golf. If you can't tell, I'm not much of a golfer, so
buy a house. We'll play around.
All right, deal. Somebody's gonna hold you to that.
They're paying for it,
and you're gonna tell your wife, babe, I have to.
Exactly.
I had to. I promise. Something I think something else to think about if you're moving out here, if you're living on land, is the critters.
Yep.
I saw some roadkill on my way up here. There are deer running around. You've got raccoons and rabbits, and we had some friends come from California to visit last weekend, and their 5-year-old son saw a red wasp and about lost his mind. Which I think if you come from a place that doesn't have a lot of bugs, a red wasp is pretty scary. They will sting you. You've got mud daubers that make little mud things on your house.
Do they not have those other places?
No. Well, not in California. I don't know about other places. But yeah, there's a lot of critters. You got to think about things like your trash being out, and your garden, your roses getting eaten, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's stuff that comes with
being in
country
the country
life,
yeah.
having a lot of acreage. I think a lot of people have that dream of like, oh, I just want to live on a ranch. Well, There's a lot of grass. There's a lot of you know, things that have to be taken care of and maintained if you're going to sign on for a big piece of property.
For sure. And I think one more pro and con that we kind of touched on is, so one con, if you're looking for upscale, high-end, fancy, bougie, nightlife, restaurants, you're not going to find that here in Montgomery. But what you are going to find might surprise you. You might not even know that you're going to fall in love with this, but it is those mom and pops, those hole-in-the-wall diners, the Bernhardt Winery that we feature in the vlog, the brewery that's here in Montgomery, the Cozy Grape Winery here in downtown and restaurant, the cute little coffee shops. Trixie's Coffee is a local coffee shop. You know, so if you want to mix it up and you're sick of burnt Starbucks, there's an option for you. And so that's the cool part about being in a small town is, as you go from spot to spot, you truly develop community. You're not interacting with employees as much as you're interacting with business owners. And you know, there's something to supporting local. And so yeah, they've got pop-ups here in downtown Montgomery on some evenings throughout the month, where you can grab a glass of wine here or at one of the other wineries, walk around. We mentioned it in the vlog, but my wife and I actually came out here. We did a ghost tour. So one of the wineries out here put on a ghost tour. We actually saw a light that shouldn't have been on. It was really weird. So I don't know if they set us up, but it, you know, we've got an 1800 antique store right behind us, and yeah, the light was kind of going wild.
Lots of antique stores, lots of that real mom and pop type of operation. The Whitley Vineyards people were telling us that it's all family owned and operated, that it's sisters-in-laws, and
it's their whole family.
And so yeah, you have a lot of that in Montgomery for sure.
Well, I think that about sums it up. In summary, I would say that the best way to describe Montgomery is classy country. If you want the space, if you want that laid-back environment, that small-town Texas feel, but not trashy, like on an upscale level, I would say Montgomery is the sweet spot, the prettiest land, and right down the road from Lake Conroe.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely, it's a beautiful place. If you want to know more about Montgomery or anywhere in the surrounding areas, set up a Zoom call with us, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We'd love to help you make your move to Houston or Montgomery or anywhere in that surrounding area.
And we would love to see you guys in the next video.
Yeah.